one of Sri Lanka's cricketing greats and current head coach of the Bangladeshi men's cricket team. Please welcome to the show, Chandika Hathurusingha.
Make use of every opportunity you get. I didn't have my own bat on that field. I actually borrowed from school bat. In one day I got out twice. Not. I thought it's my career finish again. But luckily, if you want to be the best, you have to be different. And he said, you don't know how good you can be. Even talking about it now, it's a lump like coming to my throat.
All right, welcome back to the Quest for Success podcast, and thanks for tuning in once again. Over the past few months, we have had the opportunity to talk to some fantastic guests. We've had a lot of entrepreneurs on, we've had an author, we've had some world travelers, we've had a chef. And so today we thought we'd bring a completely different perspective. And so that's why today on the podcast, we have Chandika Hathurusingha, who is the head coach of the national Bangladeshi men's cricket team. And so we thought it'd be a fantastic podcast because we know that you have a wonderful story and we just want to unpack a bit of that. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for having me.
Chandika, it's nice to have you here. So just to give you a bit of an introduction, my introduction to Chandika. Chandika and I went to same school, high school. We studied together. Even though we were not very close friends, we actually got close when we met in Australia. Chandika said, "Oh, you look familiar." And I said, "Yeah, I went to same school, right?" So then, that's how we kind of met. And then since then, we caught up quite regularly and catch up with the families. And so that's kind of refresh our friendship, I guess, So one reason, I guess, we were not that close in school days, because he was way famous than me at school because he played for Sri Lanka. He represent Sri Lanka for cricket. I mean, as you know, cricket is like a religion in Sri Lanka. So he was playing for cricket for Sri Lanka team in a very young age. And so he was well known in the school. He was playing for school cricket national team. But we are here to kind of unpack that story and understand your journey, Chandika. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, now I'll tell you this true story because he was more studious than me, and he was in the math section and I was in the commerce section.
I was pretend to be studious. I wasn't.
It's too far away for us to interact most of the time, but we knew each other in school days as well. Yeah. So anyway, it's good to catch up again.
Yeah, awesome. And so Chandika, I want to start this conversation by really setting the ground rules here. And I want to understand what success means to you.
Wow. For me, when I was like driving here, thinking about, because we hardly think about that question. We always like move on to another one, like we achieve something and go on to another one. And especially in my area, like sports. So when you look at as a whole, like what's a success mean to you? I thought it's like, in my case, to what I have to give up to achieve it. So I can measure my success. I had to give up a lot of things to achieve what I have achieved. So when you look back, I think that's the success mean to me. Like what you have to give up in order to achieve success.
Wow, that's a quite interesting kind of something new that we heard, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll explain to you. But when we start
absolutely.
And what I mean is, I mean, if you start now, I had to give up my roots to come here and establish myself as a coach. And then when I was in Sri Lanka, of course, I was successful. I was coaching Sri Lanka as a batting coach, and I was a shadow coach to take over from the head coach at that time after the World Cup, but things didn't work out the way I was planning, and then I had to leave my country. At the same time, I had the similar thing when I look back. I had to give up a lot of things to become a national club player as well. And as you know, I didn't play for my school first 11 at the start. So there's a lot of things we can discuss.
Yeah, yeah. So absolutely, Chandika. This is the reason we are here. So I guess we want to take you back to where you began, right? I wanted to understand a little bit more of your background. We talk very, casually about your background, but I don't really know much about your background. Are you coming from a cricket family? How do you get these skills? Playing for a national level, it's you got to have some kind of a natural talent, right? We just want to understand from a young kid to playing for your country. What's the story behind it?
Yeah, I'll answer your question. I'm not coming from a cricketing family or any of my family. I don't think played any cricket. But my father and my mother, they both from rural background, and they were from I don't know whether you know a place called Kirindiwala
Uh-huh.
in Gampha district. So they both from same area. They are neighbors, and both came to Colombo look for success in their careers because my father was in the army. He's the first one from his family to come away from farming background. They are farmers. They have forefathers. My grandfather and them, they had their paddy fields and all that. They never came to Colombo, so they all stayed there and become farmers because their parents are farmers. But from those two families, my mother and my father's, the first people to come to Colombo away from the village was my mother and my father. When they got married, they both came because they were, my mother was a nurse at Lady Ridgeway Hospital, and my father was in the army as a soldier. So they came to Colombo to start their life. And I think so again, they have to give up their roots to look for success. So that's the reason I was born in Colombo. And then when you're growing up those days in Sri Lanka, we play street cricket.
Yep.
As every kid, that's
Yep.
the beautiful days, and we have so much freedom to play and time and the areas like an open field to play cricket. So we played on paddy fields and street cricket, and that's how I got into cricket when I was like 9 years old, 8 years
But
old.
how did you discover that you had a real talent?
The first memory is that I felt that someone is one of those Aurdus, like we call it New Year's festival. You play cricket in that village with another village. And I become the best player or the man of the tournament or something.
How old are you then?
I was, I think, 11. And I played with men. So I realized maybe I have some kind of talent. So then I remember I was going to a school called Velwana College, and they started cricket team in that school. They never had one, and they were starting. And my father came one day when I was in school, asked me, "Can I put your name into the school cricket team?" I said, "Yes, put him." So that was that. After that, Urdu thing, and when I was 11, kind of thing, I started playing what do you call the leather ball cricket.
Okay. So your father probably saw there's something in you, and he thought, just for the, my son wants to do some sports, right?
Yeah, I think it's because of the passion. It's again another thing that I will talk about. I mean, I've talked about a lot about anyone wants to have some success in life, they need to have a passion.
Yeah.
For that particular thing.
Yeah.
Because passion is your aim, isn't it? Your direction.
Yeah.
Where you want to go. Well, I mean,
yeah.
And we all a lot of my kids even now, they study and then they want to do that and then suddenly realize, no, that's not what I like. And then they started doing something else.
Something you need to love.
Yes, because that's their passion. And if you find that as your career, it's wonderful, isn't it? And that's only once you get this lifestyle life to live.
Yeah.
And if it's become your work, and then if it become your day-to-day thing, you're the luckiest person. So that's in a way of success. I'm looking at it, and then I was so lucky to be playing cricket. That was my passion, to play cricket.
So you were talking about your father put your name onto that school team list,
Yes.
and then you got a call.
Yes, then there was a like trials kind of thing, and then they picked this team, and I was the vice captain in that team.
Wow, this is just
Straight, because it's a new team. Everybody is the same page. So that's how I started. And then that school, funny enough, is only up to the grade 5 at that time. After grade 5, you have to go to
the middle school kind of, Nalanda.
Nalanda, right? So this was Nalanda primary.
Yeah.
So my aim was to go into the big school, playing cricket, playing cricket school. Then when I was in grade 4, that became a big Mahavidyalaya,
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
So what happened then I didn't get a chance to go to Nalanda, so I had to study up to grade 10. So once I finished my O-level at grade 10, there's no advanced level in Velwana, so I had to go to another school.
Yeah.
So I applied for Ananda and Nalanda. And both schools accepted my application, but one school, Ananda, gave me a date 3 days earlier than the other school. So I end up go to Ananda.
So if you want to talk about Anand and Nalanda, so they are very famous cricketing schools. So Anand and Nalanda produce more international cricket than test players than any other school in the country.
Wow.
So I guess you have that passion, right?
That's right. I think it's, I'm not 100% sure, but Ananda is the highest, Ananda produced highest test cricketers than anywhere in the world in one school.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where all the
20 odd-
Ranatunga
yeah.
brothers and all these, Marwan Athapattu, there's few Sri Lankan captains came from Ananda.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so my dream was to get into Ananda anyway. So that's how I ended up at Ananda, mainly because of studies.
So mainly studies, not because of your sporting, but at that time, you're known in that age group
Yes.
is one of the top cricketers.
Yeah, I did well. I mean, under 15, under 17, I did well. But then when you come to Anand, it's so big school, and you're just another player another student, because it's so big. And to break into Anand, it's not easy. I remember that, luckily I had another friend who was with me in Velwana and already established in Anand team. So he's invited me for practices. So I just went practice, but then didn't get anywhere. Anyway, I played second 11 cricket for the whole year.
Yeah.
And then luckily for me, I was playing club cricket at the same time.
Yeah.
For a club called Tamil Union. And there was a tour to England in 1986, under 19 or young cricketers, Sri Lankan young cricketers tour to England. There was a trials, and then I was nominated by my club because I was playing second 11 cricket in Ananda.
School, yeah.
I happened to, I did well in trials.
Yeah.
And I remember very well, I came to school on one of the Mondays because I played Saturday, Sunday trials and came Monday to school. And then in the morning, you remember our assembly.
Yep.
It's on loudspeakers because it's so big. School is so big. So
Yeah,
we had to stay in our
7,000
areas.
students. Yeah.
So we had to stay in our areas. So I remember at the end of assembly, announcer said that Chandika Hathurusingha at C2 come to principal's office. I thought I've done something wrong.
You're in trouble.
This is not going well. So because I used to have hair, good hair on my head. I thought, because they're very strict with those days.
Yep.
In Sri Lanka, in our school, if your hair is too long, they cut. I had a little bit too long hair. I thought they're going to cut
Yeah,
my
I
hair.
remember you have a
Yeah,
little bit of
curly
curly
hair,
kind
yeah.
of hair. Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that's the thing. And then I walk into principal's office. Principal was V.S. Kudalikam, was a really good gentleman. And he said, "Come in, son." And I can remember master in charge, cricket coaches from under 19 team, first 11 and second 11 sitting outside. And he showed me a paper. I remember called Sun, English paper. He said, that one says, "Not for school, but for Sri Lanka." Headline, I was selected to go on that tour. So that's my breakthrough. And that's the only time, first time that I realized that, okay, that's my path.
Yeah. So interesting. So you got selected to play for national before you got selected to play for first grade school team.
First 11, yeah, Anand the first 11, yes.
Do you think, I remember like when we were kids, the cricket used to be what do you call prestige game, right? And not just how talented you are, it used to be your socio kind of thing also important. I've seen like, people that it's what matters more like who you know kind of thing, like more than your talent. Is that something that play a part of it, you think?
I think you're right certain extent, because not only the national level, even in school.
Yep.
Because I came from another school and nobody knew me, whether I was, even if I'm better than the others or good enough, until someone realize or until you get opportunity, your talent can be wasted or unheard of, unnoticed. Then again, quiz for success, like when you ask for success, I also think success, it depends on how much opportunity you get and how you make use of it. That's the definition of success as well.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, sometimes we can't compare somebody else's achievement,
Yeah.
because he would have got more opportunities to achieve, and then we don't have enough. But then it doesn't mean that his one is better than my one. It depends on how you look at it.
But I remember, Chandika, you were telling me a story a while back when you came from the junior middle school to Anand, our senior school. You had they select you to play for second grade, right? And then you play, and you played really well. There was a great story. Can you share that story?
Yeah, because what happened the first game, I think. I'll actually tell you. There's a funny story.
Okay.
There was a match against our under 17 team and under 19 team, a school, and friend of mine asked me, I'm not going to come tomorrow's practice match. He's going with his girlfriend for me to bring my kid.
Yeah.
Because then I can play instead of him.
Okay.
So I was supposed to come and score on that day. He said, "Bring your kid. I'm not coming. I'm going with my girlfriend, and you can play." He was vice captain at that time. So he didn't play. So I got to play, and then I took 7 wickets in that game. That was a practice match. Then the 2 weeks later, we are playing the proper match, second 11 game.
Yeah.
So coaches, everybody thought I'm a bowler. So when I went to the second 11 game, I was a opening bowler, but bat number 9.
Yeah.
This is against Matra Senseveses. There's a famous cricketer who played that game.
Yeah.
Sanat Jayasuriya.
Sanat Jayasuriya, of course.
That's his school.
Yeah.
Right? So that game, on the end of first day, they were 115 or 20 all out. Anand, the second 11, 67 for 7.
Wow.
So I was batting 5 not out.
Yeah.
Next day lunch,
Yeah.
we were 240 for 7. I was 120 not out.
You came number 9.
Number 9. So that was the first. That's the story. The first time they
Realized.
Anand realized that this boy who come from another school, he can play cricket.
Yeah.
So that was my actually breakthrough match. But then, that was the first game. But they never got to play.
Yeah. Because you're well known. I remember. I don't know you. I'm 100% sure you can't remember. I used to play for a club called Nomads, right?
Yeah.
And just training. And one day, I can't remember the same coach coaching you. You were there, and you bowled me a 1 over. I couldn't even see the ball. Everyone said he's the fastest bowler in our age group, and I was so scared. I was just close my eyes and put my bat. You were so fast. So everybody knew you as a very fast bowler for that age. Probably that's yeah.
Yeah, that's because of I was same size as now. I never grew up. When I was 17, I was same size, and then I was bigger than the others. So couldn't bowl faster after that.
And being in the second grade team and knowing that you had such exceptional talent, did that ever like play on your mind? Like, were you ever annoyed?
Not getting opportunity.
Yeah.
No. I always knew because whenever I get opportunity, I'll make sure that I will show them. So I was not annoyed. I was always looking for opportunities. That's why I told you I went to score that game.
Yeah.
So hoping that I get opportunity. And then I went to the second 11 game. When I get to bat number 9, I make sure that I rather score and be not out. So my my motto even now is that make use of every opportunity you get. Everybody called every post is make it a winner or something. People say that, and to do that, it's for me it's preparation and your self belief and then like just want so badly than another person. Or you don't know how much the other person want badly or not, but then you make sure that you really make sure that that's you make that opportunity count, because the trials, whenever I got a trial game, I'll make sure I do really, really well. So never get annoyed, but then later on, yes, when you look back and then you think, if I get some opportunities, I would have been different. But then again, I'm still happy with what I have achieved with opportunities I got.
And being so young, and did you feel like there was a lot of pressure on you to perform?
No, because one reason, my parents never knew cricket, right? It's only me who wants to play cricket. And what I really learned, and I'm still trying hard not to do to my kids, is my parents never put any pressure on me to like become this person or that person. They just gave me opportunities only to whatever you wanted to do. Yeah, whatever you wanted to do. They didn't have much. They didn't have they didn't have much understanding about the game. They didn't have much resources to give me. They only had their time and love. So whenever I come home, there's no pressure whether I score runs or not, and I was treated. But later on, when I was playing Sri Lanka, time to time, my father used to ask me, why do you do that? Why do you do this? Then I used to get annoyed. Now I didn't feel any pressure to do well. But then I put pressure on myself to make sure that it won't go waste any opportunities I get.
Yeah. So, Chandika, other question, like you're playing for a very well-known cricketing school, that young age. There were a lot of other cricketers in that group, like especially like Ranatunga brothers in the same era, and well-known other cricketers. So the competition was so high, right? And didn't that create pressure to, like, you have to compete with this whole talented group of cricketers to be part of the team, right? The grade 1 team.
Yeah, I felt that I was better than most of them because I was bowling and batting both. And then I was fielding. Well, I was natural. Because the thing is, we grow up in very natural environment, like in running on those paddy fields and all that, and playing cricket on rough without shoes and all that. For me, I felt that I was like better than
Yeah.
I can compete with people, compete with them. I always thought that if I'm getting the opportunity, that's all I need, the opportunities. I didn't have much, I didn't have my own bat on that tour. I actually borrowed from school bat. We use as a pool bat. And then when I didn't have shoes, cricket shoes proper, on that particular tour. And I'll tell you a funny story. When I came back from England that tour, I bought 13 pairs of shoes and different shoes, not cricket, because I don't know why. Yeah, so
That's the first time you went overseas?
yeah, first time I went overseas, and it was like, bright color lights. What do you call it? Like I was just starstruck, and in England and cold, and yeah. But then that's your learning, isn't it? Like you just learn so much.
So, continuing with that story, you got called for national team to play for under 19 cricket,
Under 19, yes.
and then they were touring to UK,
UK.
and then you're part of that squad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's they already selected the team because I was nowhere, and because someone really from outside. I think I was not selected to the first 30, but then there was a gentleman from my club who was the vice president of the board at that time. He has wrote a letter. I'll tell you this nice story. He has wrote a letter to the selectors at that time. I'll tell you how I got to know this letter as well later on. And letter was saying, give this boy another chance, at least a trial. He got some talent. So this particular gentleman, he became a secretary of the board in 1991. I was playing my third test match at Lord's. He was at Lord's. And I scored some runs. And then after the game, he came and gave me a copy of that letter, which he has wrote 1986.
Wow.
Wow. He must be so proud for you to play at Lord's, and
Yeah. So because of that letter only, I got those trials. Then again, this is opportunities. Somebody has to give you opportunities. And I would have been a banker somewhere if I didn't get that opportunity.
But on that, take us back to that moment when he gave you that letter. How did you feel?
Yeah, I think, even talking about it now, it's a lump like coming to my throat. Like I was just, it's like you look back and see, wow, some people like trusted you or see something in you. Those things actually give you a lot more confidence, like because you sometimes don't know how good you are. You always wanted to get better. And some people say that this guy is good enough or he's good. And then you feel that, you are good actually. And I use those things now to inspire the other players who my coach, to give them perspective that you're actually good enough to play this level, or you're world class. You can be world class. Your ceiling higher than X, Y, Z. So I use those things because I felt with those little action of other people in my life.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I just had a huge favor to ask you guys. Over 90% of you who are listening to this episode right now aren't subscribed or aren't following us on your favorite streaming service. So if you could do yourself and us a massive favor, go and click that subscribe or follow button. It means we can grow the show, which means we can get bigger and better guests on for you guys. And with that, back to the episode.
So, Chandika, you represent Sri Lanka in Test cricket. 26 Test matches.
Yes.
And 30 plus one-day international ODIs.
Yes.
And can you remember your very first Test match? When they take us through getting that invitation or call, whatever, to get to play for Sri Lanka Test match.
That's also a funny story. My life is always, it's almost like accident, everything.
Yep.
I was not to go on that tour. I was not even in the standbys. Sri Lanka team 1991 went to New Zealand, and I was playing against Australian under 21s, captained by Justin Langer and all these other players, Stuart Law, Greg Blewett, all these players were coming and playing in Sri Lanka. I was playing for Sri Lanka under 21 in Sri Lanka. So national team is in New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
And I think first 3 day of warm-up game, one of the openers got injured. Dhammika Ranatunga, I think, got injured. So he couldn't participate in the rest of the tour because it's the beginning of the tour. So they want to send him home, right? There was another story about it, but I'm not going there. So they were trying to send him home. The standby was Athula Samarasekara. There was a player called Athula. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
But he didn't turn up for training because I don't know what, some reason after team was announced, he hasn't turned up for training. So they called me from playing that game. I was 70 something not out in that game. We were playing in Kandy. They asked me to go to New Zealand on my own. Those days there's no New Zealand consulate in Sri Lanka, so I had to fly to Singapore, stay 1 day, go to the consulate, get my visa, fly to New Zealand.
Wow.
Right. So I
Yeah.
was just 21 and then
21.
yeah. So then that's how my first introduction, or you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
how do you
You
heard
got a
you're
call-
going?
you got a
Say, I
call
got
from
this
cricket
call, so
board.
go and replace
Yeah.
injured
But you
player.
didn't expect you to play on a test match. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I went there are another two openers. The day I landed, the other guy got injured. Roshan, I think.
Roshan Mana.
Manam. So both were sent back. Then I become the de facto, I had to open now. So I didn't have much time to think about test cricket or anything, and then straight into playing. And my first 3 test matches, I scored 81, 77 and 61. I thought test cricket is easy.
Talking about opportunities, taking opportunities, right?
That's right. And I, until I find out it's how hard it is after a couple of years, 2 years after that I got dropped, and then it's very hard. Anyway, that's how I end up playing my first test match.
Amazing.
And looking back over your playing career, are there any highlights that stick out that you can share with us?
For me, it's because, I mean, to be honest, I'm not the most talented cricketer, but I make every opportunity count. So for me, most of the things are highlights, to be honest.
Yeah.
The playing that first test match and scoring 81 runs in the first test match was still, I remember most of the things. And then the other one is, I actually won a man of the match award against Australia.
Wow.
ODI.
In Australia?
In Kettarama,
All right.
in Sri Lanka. It was, that's another highlight because of what happened there. Like, I was batting, they batted first. I was open. I was open at that time, and then I got cramped when I was about 40 something. Those days you had to ask from the captain to get a runner.
Yep.
The captain was Alan Body. He said, "No, you're unfit. Go."
Wow.
So I have to retire, hurt. And then we started losing wicket, and then I have to come last 3 balls to score 9 runs or something to win the game, which I managed to do that.
Wow.
So, and then because I then end up scoring 50 not out, and then I took a couple of wickets as well. So that's another incident, like I still remember, highlight. And then, of course, playing a World Cup in 1992 was highlight. Yes, there's a lot of the thing. And then I got dropped a couple of times. Coming back into the team always is a challenge. And then it's remember things that in your head. I remember 95. I came back to the team and then went to Pakistan. First 2-day game. Within 1 day, I got out twice. Not and not. I thought it's my career finish again. But luckily, they gave me
Another chance.
opportunity to play the test match. And that test series, I end up scoring second highest run scorer for both teams and then establish myself again. So that's another highlight because we beat Pakistan in Pakistan for the first time. So those are the playing days highlights. Yeah.
And throughout your playing career, you would have gotten to play with some big names.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, are there any that you really looked up to and respected particular traits about them?
Yeah, there are players that I really look up in a way of their cricketing skill as well as their leadership skills. One is standing out for me is Imran Khan, because I met him in '92 and happened to I spoke with him, and the way I still remember things. Some of the things he told me. I actually got out to him my first ODI. He got my wicket, and then he gave me another tip also after that.
That's nice.
Yeah, and then he is one of them, and then of course because he's all round, and I was batsman no ball as well. So I think he's the one who stand out for me in as a not only cricket as a person.
Do you kind of look up to Imran Khan, like you wanna, because I know you open bat for Sri Lanka most of your test career, also open ball as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you reminded me actually. It's funny because at that time, I thought when I was playing at the young age, I opened batting and open bowling. So I thought, I'm the best all-round.
God.
Yeah, I'm the best bowler, best all-rounder in the country. Or that's why I'm opening ball, opening bat. I'll tell you, that's actually the mistake, because you cannot be best in the world. I'll tell you why. Because you don't know what the other person is doing. You can only be best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But those days I was trying to chase, like I wanted to be best in the world. And then what you put so much pressure on you to do things that you're actually not capable of sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? So then you lose yourself in the middle. But if you become best version of yourself, if that's the best in the world, that's okay.
Yeah.
And did you feel that ego start to creep in as your career progressed?
Not progress. It came down. But at the start, yes. Because at the start, when I was young, and then everything I thought, like every opportunity I make it a winner, I thought it's easier. That's what I said, like test cricket looks easy for me at the start. And then I was doing all these things, and you don't know until you find out if somebody is better than you, or their game comes and bite you when you relax. Yeah. So my actually ego came down.
Came down.
You got
To be
humbled.
honest.
You
Yes.
got humble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chandika, you mentioned you looked up to Imran Khan like a hero in a way that you want to be like him, sort of, right? Is that right?
Not kind of a hero. I was looking up to him, like what trait he has, what characteristic he has as a leader.
Okay.
Why people looking up to him? Because I remember his own teammates never tap on his back. Like they all were so respectful after taking wickets. And then yeah. So he was like treated like differently. I remember him coming in a helicopter. We all went in a bus to the ground.
Wow.
Because in Pakistan in early 92, I think 93, we all went to both teams and on buses to a place called Multan. We came on a helicopter, and so I was thinking, wow. Anyway, not that one, but he had some kind of a different aura about him. And then when you speak to him, he's very different and very intelligent. and then combined with his cricketing skills and what he has achieved.
Yeah.
So I was like kind of looking up to him. Okay, that's
Yeah.
done. But I never, even now, I learned something that don't want to be somebody else. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
be best version of myself. Like
Yeah.
even in coaching, that's how I look at things. Like I'll share something with you all. Like I always tell my team, like if we do what we're doing, we get beaten. If we do what others people are doing, or we copy what other people do, we can only be competitive. If you want to be the best, you have to be different. You
Yeah.
have to have an edge over other people.
Yeah.
Any walk of life.
Not better, be different.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my question: any players that you in your playing career that you didn't really want to associate with, or you didn't want to face, or you didn't want to bowl to, someone that
Your rival.
Okay. In terms of difficulties, you asking?
Yep.
Yes. I found very difficult face Alan Donald. He actually got me, get me out and ruined my. Almost carry. First time I got dropped after playing against South Africa. I found him very hard to play. And then another player was Wasim Akram as opening batsman. He's my era. He was one of the best bowlers. I was kind of my bowling, I find it very hard to bowl to Sachin Tendulkar and Brian Lara.
Right.
They were very, very good. At the same time, in our team, Asanka Gurusingha.
right?
I used to get everybody out, and I couldn't get this guy out. And I always thinking, why I can't get this guy out? Or anybody else. In matches we play club cricket against each other, I used to get other people out. I never got him out. So
Oh,
if I
that's
get a chance, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And other than, I suppose, players, was there anyone who helped you or guided you along your journey? Like any
Yes.
mentors?
Yes. I actually had very good mentors in my life, my career. I think everyone needs people like it can be your friends, it can be someone you look up to or older than you. My early coach called Tom Depp, he was my first kind of a proper coach. He instilled a lot of self-belief in me. I'll share with you what he told me once when I was maybe 13. He said, "You're like elephant."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "What do you mean?" I thought I'm fat or something. No, I was very fit at that time. Then he said, "Do you know elephant's eyes are here in front? Elephant doesn't know how big he is."
Oh.
I think he made up or something. And then he gave me another illustration. He said, "Have you seen when elephant is small, they tied with a small chain,
Yeah.
right? Even elephant is big, we tied with the same chain because elephant doesn't know that he can break, because when he's younger he couldn't break that, so he still think he can't break. That's why he's not even pulling it.
Yeah.
So he gave me those two things, and
Yeah.
he said, you don't know how good you can be.
Yep.
You like elephant. So that stuck in my head. So I always think I am good, or I can be better.
I'm an elephant.
Yeah. That's one person. The other one is the same person I talk about, that secretary at the club. He was his name is S. Kandakumar. He was a George Stewart chairman, and he became I think High Commission to Australia, Sri Lankan High Commission to Australia, recent past. I was lucky enough to associate with him when I was playing for Tamil Union. He was a club secretary, and he actually helped me a lot in my upbringing. And of course, my father and my mother, because as I said, my father from the army background, so you get a lot of toughness and discipline, never to back down and keep your head high. If you're doing the right thing, don't worry about anything, that kind of thing. And the mother, from being a nurse, a lot of care and love, because that's what she does. So I see both at
Good
home.
balance.
Yeah. So I can, I got those both, what do you call the characteristic,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
The word. So those are the people that
Yeah.
shape my life.
So Chandika, that's really nice. Thank you for so much for sharing your story. It's interesting. I mean, I'm sure you have
Yeah.
more stories, but um, you know, you mentioned very first international match. You had to borrow a bat from the club or school pool to play for international cricket. Do you think nowadays the cricketers, they got so much resources, they paid very highly, like they get paid very well? Is that beneficiary to them? I mean, is that help them to get better cricketers, or I mean, all other way around, like having that support, financial backings, sponsorships, etc. It's a different ball game altogether, right? It's not, you never used to be a professional sport.
I think I don't see anything right or wrong or different.
Yeah.
I think that's two different eras. We cannot compare. It's nowadays they have so much opportunity, so much information available. So
And so much cricket as
so
well.
much cricket, and with that they get a lot of rewards if you're good enough. Our time, the information is not there, so limited resources, limited opportunities. Um, the passion for the game or passion for playing cricket, if you have that, it doesn't matter which era you are, you will make it.
Yeah.
The guys who sometime we think who are not going to make it
Yeah.
is because they lack something. Either they don't have the passion or the grit
Yeah.
or the work ethic.
So we've talked a lot about your playing career. I want to understand the transition to coaching.
Yes. What happened in 99 after the World Cup? I went as a player, didn't get to play a single game, got dropped. So my next aim was now, how do I play at next World Cup? 2003, right? But the same time, I had really disappointing 99 not get opportunity to play. So I left the country. 2000, I went to Australia first time to come and play a club called Pranayan in Melbourne. So when I was playing, I thought, okay, what do I do now? I don't know anything else. I played all cricket all my life.
Yeah.
Then I got the opportunity to do my level 2 coaching. When I was there, one gentleman I played against, he was working for Victoria as a development officer. So he said, we are doing a level 2 coaching course on such a day. Would you like to do? I said yes. So I put my hands up, and at that time, just after the 2000 Sydney Olympic, so the level 2 coaching course was very thorough one, 10 days. Anyway, so I did that. Then when I was there, Sri Lanka Cricket asked me to come back to Sri Lanka again. So I went back.
To play?
Huh?
To play?
Yes, they asked me to come back to Sri Lanka and play. So I played 2000 to 2003. All 3 years, or 2001, 2, 3 years, I was a player of the tournament in Sri Lanka. So I did everything what I can do within myself. Right? Didn't get a single chance. And then 2003, they announced the World Cup squad. I went like a balloon because I was not there. But because I did my coaching courses before, I was coaching my club as a club coach as a player. So I was player coach at that time from 2002. So then 2002 actually, before that announcement, there was a tour to Namibia with Sri Lanka A. I was to captain and go. Suddenly there was the head coach who was supposed to take that tour resigned. They said for me to coach and go. I said, play a coach? No, you can't play. You go as a coach. So I asked the board at that time, the selectors, so that you're effectively saying that my cricketing career finished. No, we are not saying. I said, then what? Anyway, so that's the opportunity I got first time to coach. So I was Sri Lanka A coach 2002 while playing. Then it came back. The board has changed. Those people said that no, we don't have any understanding about your coaching. You have to play. So I played again. And anyway, so that's another thing that happened in my life. Like
Yeah.
right, this is 2002. Then 2003, when they select the World Cup squad, I knew that my playing days are finished. So 2003 and 4, I went to England to play cricket. And while I was playing, play a coach in a club cricket, I did my level 3 UK certificate. That I had the intention of become a coach.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then 2005, I retired.
Officially retired.
Yes. When I retired, board at that time, for some reason, asked me to become a match referee. One day they called me and said, "Oh, there's a match referee opportunity to do match referee for Hong Kong versus UAE game to go to Hong Kong." I said, "I don't know." Anyway, I did a crash course with at that time the ICC match referee Ranjan Madugal. He was good enough to give me help 2 hours of over a coffee. Explain what match referee is. So anyway, I did match referee for 6 months. Didn't like it.
Wow.
I stopped. And then one day I came to hand over one of the match referee report. And then at that time, CEO asked me, "Oh, I forgot about you. There was an opportunity to coach UAE. They are looking for a coach." I said, "How much they paying?" That's my question. Anyway, then I went as first time as a coach to UAE. I coached UAE. I signed a contract 2 years. I coached them for 10 months. Then Sri Lanka Cricket called me to take over Sri Lanka A team in 2006.
Yeah.
So that's how I get into coaching. So I was Sri Lanka UAE coach. Oh, Sri Lanka A coach 2002. 2005 become UAE coach. Then I came back to Sri Lanka as a Sri Lanka A coach from 2006 to 2008. And 2008 they promoted me as a Sri Lanka batting coach with the national team until I got sacked for the first time. When I say first time, I got sacked again later on.
Yeah, we want to talk about that.
That's a
But
long-
I'm sure during your coaching career, you coached so many amazing, talented players.
Yeah.
Anyone particularly come to your mind? I mean, I'm happy for you to share many, but anyone particular?
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to involved in many great players' careers. I would say as a coach and as a mentor and all that. So there were about how many, 1 or 2, 3 world number 1 players in batting and few bowlers as well in Australia and in Sri Lanka. So yeah, there are a lot of good players. I don't want to mention names. Then this look, I'm dropping names because all these best players I'm fortunate enough to be coach them or mentor them.
Yeah, but I know. I mean, for our audience, it's nice to share some of the memories. I mentioned, if that's okay with you, we can share like you when you were at club captain and coach time. You played with Muthaya Muralidharan.
Yes. Yeah, I at Tamil Union, I was a captain, captaining, and Murali first played on for Tamil Union when I was captaining, and then and all my, I mean, how many 14 years I played cricket with him. I was
Yeah.
his teammate and captain, and then I become a coach as well, and then I played with Rangan Herath is another.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so two
Highest-
highest wicket takers with right arm and left arm.
For
in
Sri
the
Lanka,
world
yeah.
cricket. No, world
Oh,
cricket.
world cricket.
In
Wow.
Test cricket. He's a Rangani is a highest left armer in Test cricket, highest wicket taker, highest left arm wicket taker in. So played with him, coached him, and yeah,
And
was Murali as well. So and then of course I was a batting coach, and when Sangha was captaining, Mahela was there. Very good players, Dilshan.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of good players.
And then when you got you said that you got sacked by Sri Lankan team, and then you came to Australia. What happened?
Yeah, 2010 when I was my title was shadow coach at that time. I don't know what that means. Anyway, um, I was batting coach plus shadow coach. So apparently they were grooming me to take over from Trevor Bayliss after 2011 World Cup. But then 2010, board decided to we decided to part ways, put it that way. Then I decided to migrate to Australia permanently. So I was so lucky in 2010 when I landed here. I remember first time I got internet and checked my emails, and there was an email from New South Wales Cricket saying that if you're in the country, come and meet us. So that was on 20, I saw on 22nd, and then called them and said, I'm here. I got an email from.
How did they know that you're here in?
That was another good story. There was an article. There was an article on Cricinfo.
Uh-huh.
That article, what happened? Sangakkara has wrote a letter when cricket board sacked me, not to sack me, keep me in the system.
Yeah.
Someone in the board, to spite Sangha, leaked that letter to the media.
Oh.
So, see, this is blessing in disguise for me. But then they were trying to discredit Sangakkara because he wrote a letter as a captain. And as a captain, you wanted to keep your best people around you to be successful. So because I was sacked, and he wrote a letter not to do that. And then that letter was published in newspapers and Cricinfo in worldwide. So that's how they got to know, because when I came on the 23rd, they said, okay, 23rd of December, when I called New South Wales Cricket, I'll go backward. They said to me, oh, if you can come before 11 today, we're going to close down, we can have a chat. So I went to see the general manager. His name is David Thompson. And I saw that Cricinfo article he printed on his table. That's how I got to know that. That's how he knows. Maybe, I don't know. But then actually, Sanga's letter was on that Cricinfo, what he has wrote about me.
Yeah. So you started here in New South Wales as a.
Then what happened? We had a chat, and that's the middle of the season. End of that summer, they offered me a job as a assistant coach, batting coach with New South Wales Blues. I was very, very lucky and very actually, really
Thankful
to them for them to take a chance on me, because I'm an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
I just landed in the country and they gave me opportunity. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And then I actually, Cricket Australia gave me opportunity to coach Sydney Thunder in 2013 as head coach as well.
Mm-mm. And during that time, I guess you associate with so many number one players, right? You're talking about.
Yeah, I was so fortunate to be part of New South Wales cricket at that time. There was so much talented young cricketers coming through.
Yeah.
All of them become world class. Like if you want me to name, like Pat Cummins, Steve Smith, Mitchell Stark, Hazelwood, David Warner, Nathan Lyon, and Phil Hughes, who passed away. So they all these Osman Khawaja, all these guys were like 21, 20, early 20s, and they were like super talented. I was fortunate to be involved in that era as their batting coach.
And on that, being around such talented players, as a coach, what do you bring to them? How do you bring out the best in already naturally gifted players?
Very, very good question. Yeah, it's all about giving them that space and asking the right questions to challenge them, or asking the right question to for them to think out of their comfort zone, or asking the question why they are doing what they're doing. Is there any better way to do the thing that you're trying to do? And then creating that environment, creating that opportunity for them to get challenged,
And let them to be different.
yes, because they already, as you said, they're really talented and gifted. But the human nature is, if somebody comes and asks you or challenge you, you sometimes stay in your comfort zone,
Yeah.
or you in that level. Very rarely that human being comes and push the limit on their own. They all have someone asking the right question for them to get into another level.
So you're trying to let them see their elephant in them.
That's a very nice way to put it. Yeah, I never thought about that. Yes, I'll use that
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, elephant in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and are there any things that you do which are a reflection of the things that coaches for you did, or things that let you down while you were a player that you try to give to your players now?
I don't think I consciously do that. Maybe different situations, when you are handling different situation, actually you are doing those things, or it's those experience that you had, bad or good, it'll come in a way that you're not going to do the same mistake, or you give the positive things that you learn. Yeah, but you don't think of doing it. Sometimes it's your life, your personality has shaped in a way because of your experience.
So Chandika, when you coaching very talented players, apart from talent, do you see any other characteristics of these guys?
Yes. The number one thing I see is their passion. Number one. All of these, the best players, they're not only passionate about their achievement or their game, they know about the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They know about the history of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They know about the current players who are good,
Mm-hmm.
and the current standard or the system. They know because they're so passionate about the game. They know everything about the game, and that's, I think, driving them to be the best.
What about work ethics?
Yes, I mean, work ethics, when you come to that elite level, is similar.
They put effort, so much
You can't
time.
be in that level. Like, I'm talking about top 5. I'm not even talk about top 10.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Yeah.
In world cricket, like you
Like
elite,
Smith,
Cummins, Smith, Sangas,
Yeah.
Muralis, Mahelas, Ranganeherats, Malingas, they all have that work ethic. The one thing they separate them from
the
that
rest.
rest mean the below 10s or whatever, belief as well. There's so much belief in what they're doing. That's why I said at the start, like, they know their best version of themselves.
And is there a fine line between self-belief and ego?
Belief and ego. Ego, this is how my definition of ego. Ego is what you put it out. Self-belief is what you think inside. So if ego is if you outwardly acting or doing things,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
disturbing
Showing off,
yourself.
showing off.
Yeah. And then it's indirectly affecting your confidence or your outlook, or you can't constantly do that. You cannot. You have to be yourself. But self-belief is different. Self-belief is that you think that you are good. Even if you have a failure, very next maybe minute, after 30 seconds, what you think is important. Moment you, like, say you have got hit for a 6, or you get out, you walk back, you're disappointed, maybe for a minute. The very next minute you need to think how good you are, why you are here. That's self-belief. That's
like
not
that.
ego.
I like that.
That's self-belief, because you are actually not putting yourself down. Because otherwise what happens is you're trying to correct that mistake, you go on spiral and you lose confidence, and then you can't find yourself in.
And are there any key ways that you go about inspiring these players to let them find their inner self-belief?
To be honest with them, I think that's the best thing. Like highlight what their strength, and highlights I call it ceiling, where they can reach, and tell them how to manage their limitation. I always tell people, and I believe as well, knowing your limitation in sports is your biggest strength. It's not a negative way of looking at it. It's just know your limitation mean then you can hide against opposition, and manage your limitation without getting too much damage, and use your strength.
The cricket has changed quite a lot, right? From your playing days to now coaching days. There's a lot of strategy involved. I mean, those days, more of a verbal, more like sledging. Now it's more than that. There's so many people involved in day to day, not just coach. You have there's a whole crew mentally prepare and all that. Please share us with us. Now as a head coach for Bangladesh men's cricket team, how do you kind of manage? You have a whole supporting team, right?
Yeah.
How do you kind of coordinate and manage? Is that part of your role?
Yes. I mean, head coach role is mainly management, because as a head coach, you facilitate all the resources that your coaches have, and make sure that they all have the impact on their areas for the team. And I think as a head coach, you need to again know your limitation and make sure that you have support for that, and make use of those people, because you don't know everything, and then allow them environment for them to be themselves and support the team and do their job the best way they can. And again, when you're coaching a team like Bangladesh is not the best in the world, so you have to have a lot of strategies how to be competitive. And the same time, your success, right? We talk about quiz for success. Your success can't measure by only winning, because if you're not the best team, if you only measure your success by winning, you're putting so much pressure, and you're actually you will never achieve your best self, or what you can achieve, because you are chasing something really difficult. But if you can be your best version, and then continually perform to your best ability on the off day of the best team, you win. And the other days you compete, right? So I always think, okay, you need to always measure your success depend on resources you have or opportunities you get.
That's interesting. I was really keen to ask this question, Chandika. I could have asked this question a little bit earlier. I remember you, while you're doing coaching here in New South Wales, and then you had the opportunity to go and coach for Bangladesh. That was a really move up, because you're coaching national team for Bangladesh at a test playing nation. And then while you're there, you're very happy, you're doing really well. And then you got a call from Sri Lankan cricket to come and coach Sri Lankan team. And you decided, well, that's what you want. I remember you even asked me, what do you think? Just to get my opinion, I guess, What made you decide, well, leave Bangladesh and going back to Sri Lanka?
Very good question. Actually, one of my best friends asked me the same question today as well. Yeah, I asked a lot of my friends what to do at that time as well, because um, Sri Lanka cricket was in a very bad state at that time. If you remember, in many ways, we lost to Zimbabwe just before that, and then there was a lot of um, rumors around things are not happening right way,
Corruptions
corruption and all that, match fixing,
and
to be blunt.
yeah.
And the other thing was one of my passion to coach your own country, because I thought I wanted to. And then that time I thought the right time, because there was one gentleman called Mr. Mathiwanan, and he was a vice president, and he actually approached me and asked me to come, because the way things are going, because they didn't have a coach, they had an interim coach. So combined with those two reasons, like one is that my passion to coach my own country because of who I am, because of cricket, and then try to put things right, because we are not that bad at that time. Definitely, I knew there's something not right. So that's the two reasons.
Has anyone been approached by you to asking for fix a match?
No, never, no one, because I think they do their homework, so they won't come to me. So no, I never got any approaches.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we've talked a lot about your journey throughout your playing career and then into your coaching career. But I'd like to kind of wrap this conversation up and tie it back into your definition of success. You talked a lot about measuring success as what you had to give up, and also trying to make the most of opportunities. Now, looking back on this journey that we've discussed, do you feel like you've had a successful life?
Yes. When I look back, what I achieved with the opportunities I got, and what I didn't compromise, and then what I have to give up, I achieve. I'm very satisfied with what I have achieved.
Just one more question. Do you have any regrets? Do you think anything I could have done better? If I had another chance, I would do in a different way.
I think only thing, if when you ask me, but I normally never thought about it. When you ask me now, I'm thinking probably I would have like worked a little bit harder in my playing days, and not take things for granted. And then, as I said, trying to be best version of myself.
Absolutely. And I suppose to close on this conversation, I like to take a few notes on what I think are some of the key characteristics that have led you to your successful life. And I suppose the first one, which got mentioned so many times throughout this conversation, was putting yourself in a position to be exposed to opportunities. And whether it was in your playing career or being available to coach different teams and taking opportunities as well, you always went out of your way to show up. And showing up opens the door to many other opportunities. And I think that's really cascaded as well. If you didn't go to score that match, who knows, maybe you wouldn't have ever made the national team.
Yep.
And so I think showing up every day and trying to access opportunities is one of your key skills. The other one I think is you take a lot of lessons from your past and implement it, where even if it's subconsciously. I think you talk a lot about the inspiration that you got as a player. And by the sounds of things, you do a lot of that yourself to the players that you coach as well. And so I think taking learnings from the past and utilizing them in your current position is something that has maybe set you apart from some of the other coaches out there. And another really big one, which I heard so many times, was this idea of self-improvement.
Mm.
You're not worried about what other people are trying to do. You're not trying to be better than other people. You're trying to be the best version of yourself, and really focusing on that rather than trying to fold to other people's definition of what a great player is. You're always very focused about how you can be the best version of yourself. And I think that's something that you should be commended on. And then the last one is your fearless self-belief. I honestly can't even imagine going to play for the national team at such a young age. I think for most people that would be, you'd be quivering in your boots. But by the sounds of things, you took all of these massive opportunities in your stride. And I think having that deeply rooted self-belief has set you in good stead to make the most of those opportunities that you've gone out to get. So, Chandika, I'm by no means even remotely close to an athlete, but I've learned so much from our discussion here today. Even if it was kind of about sports, we've talked about so much outside of sport as well, and there's been so many lessons and takeaways. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for summarizing that nicely. And I think I was very impressed with you as well. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Chandika. It's nice to have this conversation and share with our audience as well, because what we learned over the last 20 plus episode what we done, the hour that we spent here, we're gonna spread that to many hours, listeners, so that whatever, if they can learn from this conversation, that's exactly the objective that we are trying to achieve. So thank you for being part of the quest for success, and you've always been a great friend. So it's good to have this chat.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thanks
And
for
if
having
you
me.
aren't already, please follow us at the Quest for Success Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And also go to our website, www.thequestforsuccesspodcast.com. And there you can fill out our success survey and see all of our episodes. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.